Okay, so today we're going deep on a song that really kind of hit me in the feels.
Yeah.
Let It Fall by Nev.
Okay.
And we're going to be looking specifically at this YouTube video. It's a one-take performance, super raw, super honest.
Nice. I like that. Raw, honest.
Yeah. And it got me thinking a lot about, how we're all chasing validation these days, like especially with social media and everything.
Right.
Is that getting in the way of like real connection?
That's a great question.
So let's see what Nev has to say about it. Right away, like the first lines, he's singing, I tell myself I'm better and my goals are more important than all my sex endeavors, that my urges keep on forcing. Like he's battling with himself, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, that internal conflict, it's something we can probably all relate to, trying to stay focused on your goals, but
But those urges keep.
yeah, exactly. It's almost like those desires are a separate entity.
It's true. And, it makes me think about how Freud talked about the ordered, that primal part of us, always wanting that instant gratification.
Oh, absolutely. And the way Nev personifies these urges makes them feel like this external pressure, which I think just like emphasizes the struggle.
In today's world, like, we're constantly bombarded with temptation
Oh, yeah, for sure.
everywhere you look. So then he moves on to this whole social media thing, singing, prioritizing women that would trade me for another guy that makes the social status bigger. Like it's almost, I don't know, he sounds resentful, maybe.
Yeah, you can hear that like a bitterness, like he feels replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because there's actually been studies, showing how social media use can correlate with higher anxiety and insecurity in relationships.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and this line really it captures that feeling perfectly. Like the fear of, like you said, being traded in for someone with more, I don't know, clout.
Yeah, more likes. It's crazy.
It is.
And then he says, I guess some popularity makes devotion wither. And I feel like that's the core of it, right? That chasing likes and followers can actually hurt real connection.
Absolutely. You know that saying, comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh, yeah.
When you're constantly focused on projecting a certain image online, it makes it harder to, I don't know, to really be vulnerable and build genuine intimacy.
So true. And then things get really heavy. He sings, don't preach to me when all you do is acting on your pretty girl privilege. Brag about the times that you get hit on, but when I get complimented, you get jealous and vindictive, obsessed with playing victim. Woof.
Right. Sounds like there's zero trust in this relationship.
None.
And honestly, it sounds like a classic case of projection.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they're each accusing the other of the same things they're doing themselves, just stuck in this cycle of blame, no real communication.
So messy. But then he says, I learned to never look for happiness inside the same place you lost it. Almost like a light bulb moment.
Yeah, there's a shift there, like maybe he's recognizing a pattern, looking for validation in all the wrong places.
Maybe. And he follows that with, I learned that you could go from saying love you to becoming total strangers in a month. Ugh, that line.
I know, right?
It just speaks to how fragile relationships can be these days. Everything moves so fast.
It does, almost like a whiplash effect, right?
It is. People connect, disconnect so quickly. Makes you wonder if there's like a deeper fear of intimacy there.
Maybe.
And then he gets really real, really vulnerable. He sings, this relationship, it taught me that person that you cherish can make you go so neurotic. He's owning that he totally lost himself in this relationship.
Right, and he's admitting how deeply invested he was emotionally.
Yeah.
And it's often when we're not secure in ourselves that we seek validation from others, like to an unhealthy degree.
And then, boom, he drops this line. You mistake the arguments and anger for some love. They say that love is blind. But Narcissism's 2020 had it planned the whole damn time. Wow. He's questioning whether it was even love at all.
Right. Like, was it manipulation? He's starting to see that toxic behavior can be disguised as passion.
Yeah.
And narcissistic personalities, they can be so charming, It can be hard to spot those red flags.
And then the accusations keep coming. Exactly what you wanted from me, accusing me of humping other people while you're calling me an ex. You can feel the betrayal in those lines.
Oh, absolutely. It's raw, and it speaks to how their communication has completely broken down. They're both hurting, but they can't express it in a healthy way, so it just comes out as attacks.
It's a vicious cycle. Then there's this line. Emotions are misunderstood. You feel betrayed. I feel some pain. Like a tiny bit of empathy in the midst of all the chaos.
Yeah, it is, but it also highlights how difficult it is to communicate emotions effectively, especially during conflict.
For sure. And then, even with all the heartbreak, there's this little bit of humor behind these BS and hooks. But this no book that I'm confessing to is just a damn reminder that my love life is as stable as a broken stool. Self-deprecating, but honest.
Right. He's not playing the victim, which I appreciate. He's owning his part in it all. Realizing his love life is, a reflection of his choices.
And finally, that powerful last line, I never meant to let it fall. What do you think he's letting go of?
Oh, I think it could be a lot of things, right? The relationship, maybe even just an idealized version of love that he was holding on to. Or maybe it's something bigger, like letting go of the need to control everything. Accepting that sometimes, the things just fall apart.
Wow. So we've gone through it all. The internal struggle, the social media trap, the pain of betrayal, the glimmer of hope, and finally the realization that sometimes letting go is the only way to move on. So what resonated with you most today? What are you going to let fall?
I think for me, it's that idea of not mistaking toxic behavior for love. We all deserve healthy relationships, and that starts with recognizing the red flags.
It does. And maybe sometimes letting go is the bravest thing we can do.
Maybe it is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, folks. Until next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great.
It was great.
Yeah, 10T18.